get that funky sound in your head is bouncing like it's on a higher lipstick. Oh, cheesy lipstick, oh baby, baby, rock it crazy. Oh, cheesy lipstick, your lips is driving, baby, baby. Oh, cheesy lipstick, you know your mind is getting high. Oh, cheesy lipstick, so why, oh why, why?
Where am I? What? The character that I'm wearing right now performs an equation known as Rammellzee. It's a mechanical equation that allows me to build 20 different types of mass to represent a mythology known as Alpha's Bet. And this character I'm wearing right now is called Barsha Gangstar the Duck. He's a pimp. The Batifoulier is the name of the costume you guys call Rammellzee. Rammellzee is an equation. It's math. It just helped build these things. It means rubbish of ocean, which means Ram is a bullshit artist, but yet it came real. Therefore, he wasn't a liar when he said he can make letters fly. Race and war. See, most people thought he was lying, but he wasn't. The Batifoulier is the costume that he wears, has missiles on it, a speaker system, shoots flames off his wrists out the back of his sneakers, which are basically ram-head Egyptian sneakers, and went out the throat.
Chairman's about our right hand of God is no gold. We say we like your function. We taught you how to breathe. We say you know your purpose, indeed. When silence gets so rotten, feel with that funky night. But Chairman's the bar, the right hand of God, don't too far. Chairman's the bar, Chairman's the bar. Chairman's the bar, Chairman's the bar.
One letter at a time. You can lock them all together to make what we call a rolling page or a rolling sentence, but it's easier to just roll a S, roll a D, roll a V. You don't need to roll SWV or something like that. You know, it takes too long. The batteries wear out, burns out the motor, and burns out the hobby rockets. One letter at a time. That's one of the tricks that was easier. Instead of doing the top to bottom with 2 letters to 5 letters, just do one statement, one letter. Mechanized, weaponized. These guys are called garbage guards. There are the recyclers and the trashers. This is one of the guys who are recyclers.
Let us go then, you and I, when the evening is spread out against the shy loft. Nails and stakes, a man locked to his fate, hate crimes of heinous proportions, abortions of faith. But I'll never turn cost me my liberty. Lock me up in a pen, bars on the windows, bolts on the doors, freedom shall ring from the bells of the elevator doors when I nail my love for explore your own.
What you know?
The only will to survive, strong one shell, so we stay alive. Welcome to my palace reality. Where things may seem
you got the style when you wanna rock a wild child. We got the chance when you show your romance. Share stories high with your fist on the ride. We're funky dreams. We're funky dreams. Funky dreams. Now tell your beats about honey. You got that rhythm of sunny. It's side when the cloud ain't changed your mind. We take your marijuana, switch it, and roll up, punch and torch it. We see a wheel when the funky dream. You got that style when the beats and you feel wow. That baby, dog.
We all came from a gang called the Hidden. I just took it a little further because I happened to be one of the presidents from one of the 5 boroughs of the Hidden. So I knew the skills of how to build it when many people were painting their faces that they would like to have worn on the trains. So the rolling pages had the painted one. I stopped painting, I had the skills. I painted it on my face and went to latex, got some garbage off the streets. Canal Street was very full of garbage in New York City at the time. And all you gotta do is find, glue, and get sniffed up. Dick's hard.
Not a soul can make you feel like rock. It'll make you real. This tricky dick that'll make you flip. And then on the tick, and I'll make the tick. So about the tide, it'll give you high. Drag race down, it'll electrify. This female down, it'll give you oh my.
The equation Rammellzee only would make letters fly. He was one of the people that invented the letters to fly because he was the first person that thought of trains in subway tunnels. He decided to say trains or rolling pages in wind tunnels for aeronautics and aerodynamical reasons. The missiles, which once were arrows in wild style, turned into missiles. And the gears that were once fluid, emotional, linear structures turned into lockdown mechanical structures so the missiles could launch. We figured this out after we built three-dimensional letters and put them on remote controls and made them roll and shoot the missile. This is Gothic futurism, known as iconoclast panzerism, the symbol destroyer of a practice of a mechanized armament on the letter's chassis. Well, at least America now has its own mythology. Usually it came from the Greeks and Romans and Russians and stuff like that. But now America has one, and it is scribble-scrabble, if you want to call it that. It is also known as wild style, or bomberism, and the burner, which is a very specially designed candy cane of a letter. And then, of course, panzerism, which is the military part of the art form. The art form needed its own self-defense. That was my job.
Where are the enemies?
You.
I'm part of you.
All of you. You're all human viruses on this pathetic and tasteless mold we call the planet.
And that is a disease culture.
That's exactly what it is. But Bashar will sell you anyway. Don't worry about Bashar. He knows what he's doing. Yeah.
Who's got warm-up? I can tell you when you break it. Check the ass off. Get guard, check in the it. Turn it around. Put your elbows in down. Like Cobra dances. Who's got the crown? Shake it and break it. Let God smell that he can make it. Say what? What's up hell? Say God's rocking swell. Like Rosie dances. Who's got the crown? When you wanna hit that town, this shit for real, this shit for real. But watch and see, with the history, and tear your ass up with infamy. The DJ strike, when it comes in your high, like history dance, when you want some romance. You can't say it's Sonic. When you know it's on it, I got all the pumps, and I'm down with the crystal. Got free even pay rent. Oh, let's move it out. Come on. DJ God, can't see. DJ God can't see. What you say you beat. Now, and free that me. Now.
Duchess. A girl character. She's a princess whose kingdom is in shambles because of two guys we call Alpha Positive and Lords Minus. These are mathematical legends. They're twins and they fight each other. One is positive, one's negative, and they're both trying to destroy the transversus, which is just simply a word that in mathematics when you go from point A to point B, when you transverse, just like if we were flying from Earth to the moon. Transverse. They had came up with a theorem that stated that there is womb versus man. This was the first bet. Womb versus man. Spiritually, the clergy said that we are all men. I agree. But there is womb, an expansion-contraction system. The womb is an expansion-contraction system. Man doesn't have an expansion-contraction system. Wombed man has an expansion-contraction system. So the clergy did one thing. They removed the BED and crossed the M's on top of one another. Now you have the word woman.
A sour tea to make it on the field. Rammellzee, rock history. Murder, you're rocking the CTC. Murder, you're rocking for history. Murder, you're rocking the players home. Murder, or keep on sign.
For wearing masks, you do have to belong to a certain gang called the Hidden, and you have to be able to take the heat. Like right now, I got to get out of this thing because you can only stay in this thing for 20 minutes because the blood circulates in your body every 20 minutes. If you stay in it longer than that, you have to be very well trained. As for the culture being very well trained, how many people you know like to wear long black coats in the summertime? You know, they get too hot, they want to take it off. I want to take this off, but see, I've been trained to make sure I can keep it on close to 2 hours if I'm lucky. Depends on what type of day it is. Simple as that. That's the connection. Can you take the heat? No, you can't. Then you can't be in the gang called the Hidden. How far can your mentality stay without being claustrophobic? Me, I happen to build 20 of them. Some of them girls, some of them lizards, some of them monsters. This is not a monster. Don't get me wrong. It's just a nice, handsome duck who knows how to smoke a good, solid blunt. Stuff like that there, you know.
Yo, shoot it up, baby, pop, pop, man. Shoot it up, baby, pop, pop, yeah. I wanna shoot it up and so who wants that page, baby? So Rifleman, get off the grandstand. Rifleman, come at me. Rifleman, shoot it up.
Good, I'm joining you later. I'm going to get me a beer.